So apparently Stephanie Jenkins doesn't fully like herself right now, and she's spiritually tapped out. She makes this video, I don't know, making the same old junk she always makes, cutting up them nasty chicken, them burn up nasty chicken thighs, and yada yada yada. And she's talking in this voice. I'm just not fully happy with myself lately, and blah, 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 feel sorry for me because I live in a hotel. I refuse to get a guaranteed income, and I refuse to look into private landlords, so I might actually get out of this shelter. Yeah, just basically, the sound. She's on the verge of tears, wanting people to feel sorry for her. And, she goes on to talk about how this is her last baby, and it starts as, if you know anything about having a social media career, it's like a full-time job times 3. And she could be using this time to spend with her children. Then why aren't you? I still see you putting out videos, but you're complaining about spending time with your children. Because the baby, she wants to soak up every last minute because that's her last child. And then her oldest, she's had her for 10 years and feels like she hasn't even given her half of what she wants to give her in life. No, you gave her a filthy shelter room. And before that, you gave her a space to sleep on a floor next to the onions in a kitchen. Let's be real, Stephanie. Let's be real. And for the life of me, I could not figure out, why is she so opposed? Okay, we know she's not going to get... I understand she makes money from the social media. I understand that. But a landlord is going to look at that and say, this isn't a guaranteed income. She might make $1,000 this month, but what's to say next month she might only bring in $200, for example. She needs to show a guaranteed income. It's going to be this amount every month. Within maybe $100 or so, it's going to be this amount every month that she's bringing in. Even if she worked this job, 6 months, put 6 months in, get the apartment, then quit and go back to your social media. But she refuses to do it. And it comes down to, because she doesn't want anybody else around them children. And why does she not want to look into private landlords? She keeps wasting her time with these management companies. Of course they're going to deny. You have evictions, you have bankruptcies. No guaranteed income. A private landlord, you might have a chance. You might throw them a couple months extra rent on, or, a bigger deposit or whatever, and they'll let you in there. Even if it's on a month-to-month basis, a month-to-month lease even. Who cares? Get out of the shelter. But what? And then she says she hopes by some miracle, that God will bring them a place, and God help her. Stephanie, it's not God's responsibility to get you a place. You can do it if you wanted to. But like I keep saying, it comes down to getting that guaranteed income and look into private landlords. What is the problem here? What is so hard to grasp about this concept? And just to feel sorry for me, we're over it. She put herself in this shelter, point blank, period. She had went viral and chose not to pay the rent in the 1 bedroom. You went viral, you had the money to pay the rent and chose not to do so. Therefore, you chose to be homeless. You choose to remain homeless. Every day that you don't get a guaranteed income and at least try private landlords, that's a big city. You can't tell me that there's not hundreds of private landlords throughout that city. Now, this is the other thing I want to speak on with her. Have you ever noticed how isolated she keeps them kids? Those kids have no outside contact besides school. She said it before, she doesn't allow them to go on field trips. Those poor kids, if they don't have any friends, maybe they have their little school friends, but when we were that age, I know y'all can understand this, when 10, 8, 9, 10 years old, on the weekends, you want to hang out at your friend's house or whatever. They're never allowed to go to a friend's house. They never are allowed to sleep over at anyone's home. They don't do any after-school activities. They're not allowed to do that. I said they don't go on the field trips. They're never left in the care of a babysitter. What exactly is Stephanie afraid of these kids saying? Because that's the only thing I can make sense of. If you are trying that hard to isolate your children from the outside world, the only person you want your kids to talk to is you and Drew. Just like when there was the whole thing with the teacher where she was all up in arms about the teacher taking one of the girls and talking to them privately. She blew a gasket over that because she's afraid that those kids are going to say something. There's something going on there. I mean, besides they're living in filth. Besides, these poor kids aren't getting bathed every day. Besides, they're not getting fed enough. The portions are incredibly small. The portions are enough for the 1-year-old, but they all get the same portion size. Their clothes don't fit them. These kids are in a horrible situation. But that's the latest on the Jenkins. She's spiritually drained. And obviously she thinks it's going to take a miracle to get them out of the shelter. So that tells you right there where her mind is. She's not trying. She's sitting on her ass, waiting for someone to hand her a home. Or waiting for God to come out the sky and say, "Here, Stephanie, here's the house you wanted." What's your thoughts on all this, though? Why is she isolating those children? What is she afraid those children are going to say or do? What's really going on behind the closed doors there?